Welcome to Dave's Shop. I'm Dave. On today's episode, we're going to be making a growth chart or ruler. It's great for the kids and the grandkids as you're able to track how they grow each year. I make mine from Knotty Pine that you can buy at any big box store. Today I'll show you how I do it from start to finish and some of the features you can add to it. Won't you join along? Thanks. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm taking a 1 by 8 foot long piece of knotty pine, and I'm going to trim off the bottom edge here. I got a couple of knots, and then I'm going to measure up from there to 7 feet. I'm going to recut the other end, and the reason why I'm going with such a tall one is normally people make this for approximately 6 feet. So the person that I'm making this for, their father is actually about 6'5", so the potential is there for growth to match the same. So I want to be able to do a board that you'd be able to keep until he's finished growing. So having said that, we'll get our hearing protection on and we'll make our first cut. Alright, so now I'll do our measurement. And actually it's not a full 7 feet because the first 6 inches won't actually show on the board. That way you can raise it up above the baseboard on the floor and you can set it to a good height. So we're going to go 7 feet minus 6 inches, so 6.5 feet. So that's 80 inches. And we'll take our speed square, mark the line for reference, turn the board around, and we'll line that up and do our cut. And remember, you want to do the cut just to the outside of the line. That way we got our measurement. Okay, here we go. There, so that's our second cut. So if I measure and did it correctly, we got 80 inches. So that's good. So the next step will be to apply the stain that they chose, and we'll get that on the whole board, let it dry up. And okay, so we have the board cut down to size. The next step is we want to put some stain on it. So I've got my gloves, stain, and some rags. We'll brush it on with a disposable foam brush and let it soak in just for a little bit, not long. We'll wipe it off and we'll do the whole board. Give it a bit of a stir. Stuff has been sitting around for a bit, but you should always stir it up. Sediments will settle to the bottom and it'll just be like water, thin water, dark colored water otherwise. We want to get the pigments fully engaged with the liquid. looks pretty good. Okay, so here we go. So just follow the grains. Get it on the top. Well, this is actually the bottom, but we'll do this first. And then we'll let it dry for a bit after we've wiped it down, and we'll flip it over, do the sides, the ends, and then what will be the top. Now this is a stain that the customer enjoys, the color, called yucca bean. I believe that's how you say it. And but you can use any stain. If you're making this for other people, it may be worthwhile just to kind of give them an option. If it's a stain color you have, then you're good. Otherwise, just get a small can. I mean, they're not very expensive, and you can use it over time. Okay, so there we go. We've got it all on. So now, just set that down. Now we want to wipe it off. You don't need a lot of a pressure. You see how it's darkened and it's bringing out the grains in the wood. It's also a good idea, obviously, to wear gloves, or you'll be wearing the stain for a while on your hands. There. So it's basically rinse and repeat from here. Do the edges, the ends, and then flip it over and do the other side. Let it dry up for a while.
Well, here we are the next day, and the stain has dried overnight. I just prefer it that way. It doesn't contaminate your polyurethane. And we're gonna put our first coat on. Basically, I like to give it one coat, and then I'll give it a light sanding, and then I'll give it 2 or 3 more coats. Usually when I'm doing these, after the second coat, I'll then put down the vinyl lettering and give it a top coat just to help keep them in place. Anyways, I'll just speed this along, and we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so an hour later, we're back, and now what we're going to do is I got some 220 sandpaper, 220 grit, and we're just going to give it a light sanding. And what we're doing here is basically after the first coat of poly, the wood fibers stand up a bit, and you want to get them down so it's nice and smooth for the next coats. So I do all sides, the ends, give it a wipe down with some paper towel. I use paper towel, just it was handy. And then once we're done, we'll end up putting another coat of poly on. So I'll let you watch that and see you back here shortly. All right, well, we've got our second coat of polyurethane on here, and I've given it another sanding. So the next step is, now I want to cut out our transfer. So this was done on a Cricut. I didn't go through the process of it, but if anybody wants to see it, just leave a comment below and we'll go through that. But basically, it's an SVG file that you upload into your Cricut, and you print them out and you put them on the transfer paper. And the only thing I have to do right now is I need to cut them in half, and then we can start laying it out. So we're going to cut it over here on the mat. And we just got to move a couple of these items over. So this is just a self-healing mat. You can pick them up at any craft store. Okay. 3 and 4. Six and 1. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I do have to print a 7. As I said, I wanted this to go almost to 7 feet tall, but I didn't have enough transfer tape, so I'm going to put these on, then we'll go back, I'll print out the 7 and bring it back and we'll put that on. Once all of these are on, we'll give it another coat of polyurethane just to seal it in. You don't need to, but I think just for longevity, I want to put it on there. And we're pretty much, that'll be pretty much it, other than I need to put a hanger on the top. I've also made a little 6-inch standoff. What this will do is this will go on the floor up against the wall, gives you some clearance for the baseboard, and then this will sit on top, allowing you to perfectly mark it on the wall and hang it. And then it'll be 6 inches off the floor, laying flat against the wall, and you won't miss any measurements. So what I want to do is I do want to put a painter's tape down
because I want to bring this up to the edge of the tape as opposed to the edge of the wood. There. Okay, and this is actually 6 inches from the floor. So we want to start with an inch above it, and we're going to put this line. I don't think I can get, well, I guess I could put that line on there. It would work. So I think that's what we'll do is we'll now I think I'm going to start it, I'll measure up, use a ruler. I'm going to start there. So now what we have to do is we have to peel this off. And actually make sure it's smooth on there. So it's going to stick to it. Okay. Now you just smooth it out onto the wood. And we'll slowly peel off the transfer tape. There. Okay, so that's one down. There we go. So we've got it to 6.5 feet. So I think I'll just go make one that'll take it to 7, and we'll call it a day. All right, so I jumped back into the house and I just finished off on the cricket, the last section up to 7 feet. So we'll just do a final measurement here. There. So now we have it measured up to 7 feet. So now we'll just slowly take off this tape. Those are guidelines. Okay, so last thing I want to do now is I just want to put on some poly. And we're going to save these so they can go back onto the. So I'm going to clean up and then we'll come back and we'll put the final coat on. There, now that we have some room on the bench, we can put on our final coat. So with this coat, it'll end up giving it 3 coats of poly. And that should make it last quite a while. Okay, that's it. So we'll let that dry up and we'll do the final addition of the hanger. And that project will be in the books. And there you have it. Not too hard to make, but the grandkids and the kids love them. They can look at it over their lifetime and see how much they grew every year. It makes a great gift and a great heirloom for each of the kids. And click the thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. See you next time. Bye now.